Hello everyone, we are back for another day. We are going to be continuing our build of the Tornado F.3 Advanced by Revell on 48 scale. I believe this is part 5 that we are continuing on. And here we are. Here's what we've got so far. We've got everything all put together. Last time we got this little back piece put on with the little connector pieces that are going to be for the rudders, ailerons, whatever they're called. Tail fins. No, that's not it. Tail fins. Anyway, got the engines put on and they are nice and solid. Everything's looking good so far. Still have to paint that, but that's going to be part of the, oh, how about that? Ejection seat. Well, I guess on first things first, I'm going to glue the seat back in. Yeah, so that's kind of where we're at. Last time we also completed the tail fin. There's still a couple of pieces to go on this. And so let's get to it. Right now, I guess on first order of business is get this glued back in. And it only connects at 2 little spots and that's it. So it's really not held in by a lot. So I'm actually surprised it didn't come apart earlier or before, with the amount of times that I have knocked this thing back and forth and all kinds of stuff. And that's about it. Just like that. Have to let that sit. That's okay, because we're not working on anything on that for a little bit. We have still a couple of pieces to go on the tail fin. We've got a couple of guys like this. There's one. Aren't you impressed? I didn't lose that from a couple of days ago when I took it off here. I managed to keep it. Maybe you're not impressed, but I'm impressed. Because I usually, I don't want to say usually, but I have a tendency to lose things when I take them off the screws and then I just set them aside and don't actually put them on right away. So that's how they're going to go. This one is going to go like that. This one's going to go on this side. And yeah, so that's how they're going to look. But the tips of them, are going to be black. So I want to paint them before I put them on. You know what? I have to paint camouflage on the tail fin, I think. I'm going to refer to one of my pictures of the plane. To see. Yeah, see, there's camouflage on the fin. I'll show you here. Right there. So that's where the fin goes. And of course there's camouflage pattern there. So I think it would be a lot easier just to leave that off of there until I finish painting it. Now, alternatively, I could actually paint this now. It's funny, they want this piece in the instructions. They had me paint this silver, but in here it's the color, just the color of the plane. And same with this part here. They had me paint that silver, and that's clearly just the normal color of the plane also, except for this little silver ring. So that's interesting. So yeah, so I guess at some point I'm going to have to mask off that little ring so that I can paint this gray just like the rest of it, instead of leaving it silver like that, because that's round. And then, actually, let me look at that picture again. They had me paint this great big piece here underneath the fin gunmetal. But again, that is not gunmetal at all. That's the color of the plane. So, yeah, here we are. I painted this gunmetal. There's my silver piece. So, I guess when I respray this, I don't have to mask those like I thought I was going to have to. So, maybe what I'll do is I will paint the tips on these little fins black, wherever they went. There they are. I'll paint these guys, the little tips, black, and I'll hit this with another coat of gray just to cover up these two pieces. And this one part here, as you can see, it's a much lighter gray. Yeah, so that this will be done. I gotta fix that too. Hit it with the gray, and then I'll do some work on the camouflage for this thing. And then I can put the fins on. So let's start with getting my black ready, and get a brush. And I'm going to get some music on here too. Let's see. Where are we? Done with that. There we go. Okay. All right. So, it's just the tips. Let's see if they marked it off for me. Yeah, they kind of did. It's a very tiny little line on the end. Now they call for it to be white, and in the picture that I had up there, it's not quite white. It's close. It actually isn't marked off properly, so I'm just going to make up my own little actually going to use an alligator clip so that I can put it down and it won't get interfered with. Just getting it ready. I think it might be time for me to invest in a couple new brushes. My bristles are really starting to show their age. And yeah. Like it just, when I've got it clean and everything and it's all fresh and new, it's fine, but once I dip it in the paint, suddenly the bristles, instead of being a nice little point, they just kind of go whoop, and they open up, and that's no good. You can't get nice precise lines when they do that. So like right now, it's even like that, it sucks. It needs to be a point, but yeah. That's what happens as they get old. And these, none of my brushes are really old. Okay. So, I just finished painting the nose cone. Nice black. that can be put over here. Now, I'm going to hit this with a gray. I think I'll just do one side at a time. There. That should be okay. Just do one coat because there's already a couple of coats on there. Okay, there's a couple of clear pieces to put on, but I have to wait. Okay, so we got our, I don't know what the hell they actually call them, ailerons? Is it ailerons? The tail fin things? Yeah. I build all kinds of planes, I don't know what the parts are called. We got these guys. So they have to be assembled, and it looks like they want me to assemble them on the plane, but I'm not going to do that, because that's just stupid. Oops. Okay. There we go. You can really tell the difference in the, it's a huge contrast from the color it's molded in, which would have been an okay color had I been going with the paint scheme that they were calling for in the instructions and on the box. But I'm going somewhere totally different, so yeah. That one's done, and so tomorrow I'm actually going to be taking a break from this particular model, and I'm going to be putting together my TIE fighters that I picked up last week. And so I will be assembling my two TIE fighters that I have. And that's what I'm going to be working on tomorrow. Show you. Where are we here? These guys here. TIE Advanced and the TIE Fighter set. Put those little guys together tomorrow. I believe the scale is 144. Yeah, see how they've got that little notch in the middle there? So that's going to go over top like that. So I'm going to glue them together first. Especially because I want to use my clips to hold it. Make sure it comes together nice. It holds together. Okay. Let's glue. These wings that they put two pieces like this, it always is a challenge on the thin little edge to keep it from really looking like it's two pieces together, right? So there's that one. That can sit for a minute. Let's take a look how these two fit. This one actually has 4 little bumps on the tip there that stick out. And it looks like they're... It's hard to tell if they're actually supposed to be there or not. They're pretty prominent. I think it's just extra flashing. Yeah. That's all it was. It actually looked like it was some kind of little pins that stick out. Okay. Go. Okay. Alright. Okay. That's done. You have my little fins, and that paint is going to be dry, but I just want to leave them off to the side, like that. I can probably put this on the other side of the paint now. That's done. Done and done. This should be fine now. Yep. Now, is there an up and a down? I don't think there is. They look like they're identical molds. Yes, they are. I think. No, they're not. This one's got a molding of a little something sticking up that goes across there, but it's not on this side. So let's see if we can figure this out. It's hard to say. It looks like this little line is going to go on the top, because there is a piece that's going to get glued on top of that. A88 and 91. Let's take a look at those. Let's see what they're talking about. A88 and 91. I think that's these guys. 88 and 91. Yeah. Tiny little fins, and they just go on there, and I guess it's to cover up the hole. But I need to hit them with some paint because they're not looking right. So let's just do that. Nice and quick. Better. Right. And it's nice to be able to come home on a Friday night and start working on my model. It's as exciting as it may not seem. I can work on this till I get tired enough to go to bed, instead of saying, oh, I've got to quit right at 7 o'clock so I can get everything ready for work tomorrow. Yeah, well, it's Friday, so tonight I don't have to worry about that. And that's nice. So there we have it, and that's going to be the two ups. The two ups? Yeah, that's what you call them, and then the downs. The ups and the downs. Okay, so I gotta wait for that, I think. Let's see. It's dry. And do it light enough. It dries so fast, it's so awesome. Okay. So there's the two little pieces. You can see they're tiny little things. And they're going to go in here. But how they... Oh yeah, there's a tiny notch there. Okay, so how do they sit? They sit kind of sweeping back. So I don't want to accidentally glue it to the hull or fuselage. So before I even put these on, I'm going to glue this on here. A tiny little slot right there. Okay. These are totally the kind of pieces that as a kid I would have just not even bothered. So now you can see that on there. Let's see. See that sitting there right there? It's that tiny little fin. Yeah, I totally would have gotten glued the thing on there by mistake. And of course now we can really tell that which side is up, and I was right in my assumption. It's actually quite rare. I don't usually assume correctly. But that's okay. This side doesn't seem to fit quite as flush. Or at all. So I'm going to take that back off of there and see if I can trim this down just a hair on this piece, because it's really sticking up and it is going to interfere. I don't want to use this glue because it's thick. And now I have options, and that's nice. Those are done. And now let's take a look at our fin. So that's been painted. That matches a lot better. I want to do the camouflage on this. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a look at those pictures of the plane again, so I can see what the fin looks like on one side and on the other. So that's going to be like that. I got to do that on that side. And that's the same plane. Let's take a look at the other side. There's nothing there. But there is there. So I have two options. What to do? It looks like the pattern is identical on both sides of the plane. Okay. So what I'm going to do is trace this out. Trace this out like this. Okay. Yeah, I can draw. I can really. No, not really. But in any case, let's take a look at this plane again, this tail fin. So I want to do this kind of a pattern like this. And then here we want this, and to kind of come down around here, roughly. Like that. So that's kind of the pattern we want to have. what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut this part out. No, because I'm going to cut this part out and this part. Let's just move this out of the way. I don't need these for now. So, the nice thing about this is it's the same on both sides of the plane. So I don't have to worry about making two different patterns. Now the nice thing about this is if the cardboard becomes a little bit frayed, that's okay. That just adds to the effect. Remember, I don't paint with airbrush, right? So I do this. Because with airbrush you can get such a nice crisp line where you can fade it just a little bit. And with spray cans, it's much more difficult. You know, those guys that do graffiti and they get those crisp lines with spray cans, I don't know how they do that without it running like crazy. Okay, so now you can see when I lay this down over top, those plates, those pieces are going to be exposed like that, those areas. Okay, but what I don't want to do, I don't want to lay it down right on there. I want to keep this up just maybe a millimeter off of the actual piece. And that's how you get that little bit of just a faded edge. And that way you can do this basically all day long and use the same piece. And of course, if you need to change a pattern on it, you can just turn it a little bit and go or whatever, and it works out pretty good. So I'm going to do that now. Put this over here. I need to get my olive drab. This one here, olive drab. Take my piece. Again, I just want to keep it off of there just a hair. Sometimes what I do is I'll pick something that I can just put beside it or something like that to put the cardboard on top of, so that it helps keep it off of there just that tiny little bit. Because if you get it too close and you're just holding it by hand, it does make it's easy to accidentally, as you're holding the cardboard over it, to just go touch by mistake, and now you've touched it and you've screwed it up. So sometimes it is handy just to have something that the cardboard sits on so that you don't actually have to worry about holding it. In this case, because I'm using the end of the box, I can actually bend this down so that when it lays down, it's actually sitting up a little bit. And that'll help raise it up just that tiny little bit. I'll let that dry just a second before I show you how it turned out. Because once it dries, you'll see the little bit faded edge a little bit easier. Do that one spot good enough, so I want to hit it again. I didn't get it on thick enough. Which is another thing. Doing this technique, you kind of have to make sure you get it in one coat. Otherwise, you wind up having to go back and you might not get the same spot again. It can be tough. It's definitely a technique that takes a little bit of time. Sometimes you fog it, you get too much of a fog on there, and then you basically have to make the opposite and cover it up and go over your other color again. So that's kind of what we're looking at right now. All right, so we've got that little bit of a fog on the edges, and now I have to let this dry, and then I'm going to do the same pattern on this side. Now what's going to be unique about that is where this is on the right there, I want to duplicate that exact spot so it looks like it's coming over and getting the same pattern. And it's the same with this. I want to get it right there, so I just have to make sure I line it up pretty good. But I'll just sit this down and let that dry for a few minutes before I flip it over and start working on the other side. So while we're waiting for that, I can put these guys on. And we'll see how tight they fit now that they're together. It's not bad. These things are going to want to sit just like that. They don't. Oh, there it stayed. And it didn't. It stays there. They don't have a lot of movement, do they? Oh well. So I will put a little bit of glue on this piece rather than that one. And then get that in there. To glue it solid. And I don't want it solid, so I'll keep moving it every minute or so while the glue is setting to make sure it doesn't stay that way. Okay, there we go. So those are done. The next thing they want me to do is a whole bunch of things, a whole bunch of details on the front of these wings. You see all those little notches in the tip, right here, there, there, there. So they've got some kind of little things that all get put into those slots. That's if the slats are down. So what happens if the slats are up? If the slats are up, they've got a piece that just goes right across there and hides them all. Perfect. Kind of, if it is going to get stuck in one position, I want it straight. But I don't want it stuck in one position. Let's just do that. So I want C104 and 105. Here. I think that's going to be these two. Yep. So let's get these ready. It's another case of not being painted properly. That's okay. I think I realized halfway through this build that I'm going to be pretty much painting this whole thing again after it's assembled to get the proper camouflage look that I'm going for. I have to clean this up because it looks pretty ugly. Got all these little pieces that are going to go in all these little notches, but they look kind of wide compared to these notches, so I don't anticipate an easy go of it. Probably wind up cutting them all off to get it to fit nice and flush. Just anticipating problems. Okay. So it looks just looks like it's a little too much. Let's see which way is way, which way they go. So this one goes here. Actually fits pretty good. So you can see where it all. Maybe you can't. Let's try it there. Let's see where all those little notches are in there. They fit okay. It's a little bit snug. That's kind of good. That's one. I'm happy with that one. I think I'll glue that one now. just not very much. It's pretty not wanting to stay. It's okay. And as is becoming quite common with this, I'm using the faster setting thin blue. I don't know if blowing on it makes it dry any faster. Maybe it's just a placebo effect. I don't know. But it's now set. Okay. With that set, let's go back to the tail fin. And get ready to paint the other side. I'm just going to do a little reference point here to see where I set that up. What I'm going to do is just trade spots here for a moment. Get my felt. I want this to be the same. So, do it right there. And it's kind of sticking off about there. Yeah. Okay. But guess what the problem is? I can't just flip this around because then it don't match at all. So I have to also flip this. So I'm going to put my reference mark on the same spot. Right there. This side. Perfect. And where this went. Okay. So now I know, flip this over, I can line those up. And hopefully get it in the same spot. So, bring this down a little bit. Top or the bottom of that? Bottom. Like that. And that should be fairly close to the other side. So that it won't be much of a difference. So let's put the pack over here. Lay it down. Just like that. Okay. Pretty good. Now, what I have to do is kind of hit this just a little bit. Okay. So there we have it. We've got one side and the other side. Just like that. So this is the side I just painted, so I'm going to lay this down. I actually painted the other side too. So what I want to do, let's see if I can get away with doing this. Let's use one of these. There. Oh, that was close. But I can get away with it just doing that. Let that sit, and that'll dry like that. That's something I need to check real quick here. Alright, sorry about that. Alright, so where were we? Tail fin's done. This can get put over here. I'll be using a lot more of that, but that is one, that particular can is getting a little bit low, which is why I have another one. This includes, no, that's not solid, that's not solid, perfect. Okay, let's see how this side fits together. This one looks like it's the same. So, I'm going to keep this here because I have a feeling it's going to be the same as the other side, where it's just going to not really want to hold together all that great. So, I'll start with this. It is holding together. It fits a little bit better than the other side actually. So I don't need the fast setting stuff. There we go. It fits perfect. So that's that. Now we're going to let that dry. So that's done. Don't need that. That is done. Don't need those, don't need that. This is done. This is that. Mounting the tail fin. But I got two more pieces to put on the tail fin. Well, I've got my little fins to put on, and I got a couple of little clear pieces to put on there. So I'll have to wait for that paint to dry. I don't want to start messing around with it. Let's take a look at those clear pieces. F.3 ADV. How big or tiny are these guys? They are really tiny little pieces. Tiny enough that I'm tempted to say forget them. They're super tiny. Let's see. You can see them right here. There and there. See those? I'm not supposed to paint them any color. It feels like I cut my finger, but I didn't. I just kind of shaved a little bit. First, 1 or 2 layers of skin off. So what do we got here? On the next page, these are all flaps down, 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 flaps up. Flaps up, see, but that's all done. That was that day I was decided I was gonna, I flipped my sanding sponge to decide whether I'm doing flaps up or down, and it came up flaps down. So I was going to do flaps down, and so, but I needed to look ahead in the book to see what's entailed in doing it, and then I realized if I did flaps down, I would not be able to sweep the wings back and forth, and that kind of defeats the purpose of this whole thing, right? Because that's like one of the key features of this plane, is that the wings sweep. So I decided, regardless of what I had done, I'm going to do flaps up, and I glued these on. So this is actually already done. But there's a couple of pieces that go on the top still. And it looks like 114 and 115. And it looks like they give the option of having them up. I guess it's going to be like air brakes with them up like this, because if you're doing flaps down, the flaps are down here like that, and then they want you to have this like this. So, but I'm just going to glue them flat down and call that done. So what do we want here? We want B 114 and 15. Where's B? There. B 114 and 15. That's these two guys here. Okay. And we've got these little notches that they go in. And just go on like that. Once I clean them up a little bit. So yeah, you've got the option of installing them raised up like that. Which technically I could do if I wanted, because that's not going to interfere with anything. But I think I'll just leave them down like that, because that's how we're doing the rest of the plane. So yeah. I'll check something out here. Okay. So I need to clean these up a little bit. It's just a little bit of extra flashing around the edges that going to prevent them from mounting flush. And nice and smooth. So. Okay, looks good. Ding, ding. Okay, see this one again. It's trailing edge. Yeah. All right. Let's just do another quick little test fit. Yeah, it's nice and flush now. Much, much better. There we go. That side's done. Let's turn this and check this side out. And this one fits pretty good. This one side doesn't fit quite as good as the other one, so I'm just going to hold it down for a second, or 10. Our tail fin should dry now. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to bother with that tiny little clear piece. It's not going to add anything to the detail at all. So I'm just going to leave it off. So the tail is going to mount, excuse me, it's going to mount right there. Like that. And yeah, I like it stays. I got my Sharpie on the very tip of this thing on the edge. Oops. Oh, I'm probably gonna hit it with the gray later anyway, so. Okay, so this is done. Is that done? It's sticking up. It's okay. It's sticking up just a hair. I don't think it's really that big of a deal. Just now that it's on there, there's nothing really I can do. The middle is it's okay. It's not the end of the world. I don't like the floppiness. This is ridiculous. It's too floppy. I'm tempted to just glue it solid. It's cool that you got a feature of the model that allows you to do this. But the fact that it's so floppy. It'd be good to be able to move it when I gotta paint that, because you can actually move this out of the way. Otherwise, to paint around it. So I might just leave it for now anyway. Anyway, that's done. So this is done for now. Going back to the tail fin. We got our two little guys here that need to go on. Doesn't matter which side they go on, they're both the same. Go like that. But I want to make sure that they're kind of square. So I'm going to do one at a time, so I can try and achieve that. They'll be sitting at the same angle and not cockeyed or something weird. Looks pretty good like that. Okay, let that sit and dry. I definitely don't want to start moving this thing around and have one flop over on me. Plus, you wind up having the issue, how do I let this sit while both of them dry, right? So there's that problem too. So I'm just going to let this sit like that. I'm going to take my eyes off of it for a little while it dries, and hopefully it is a good boy and dries proper. So now what looks like the actual air brakes, I did not realize, I thought these might be air brakes, but it's actually these panels that go on top of these spots. Got a hinge, a little shock absorber, or I guess it'd be a hydraulic shock if I want to have them raised. I don't have any other fins open or anything on this model, so I am going to have them closed. So let's take a look. What pieces do I need here? Let's go B 116 119. Which is just a little thin piece, right? Yeah. So that's, I don't think that's what I need. I need A 118 and 120. Them closed, it's not going to matter the inside details. For example, if they're closed, it doesn't matter, I could paint that purple, it's not going to make any difference. You know, hindsight being 20/20, I didn't even need to paint those things white. There. little bit. I'm starting to understand why these guys who do their airbrushing, they pretty much assemble the whole thing before they start painting the whole model. Because a perfect example is this piece here. This has been painted gray to match the rest of it, but I didn't quite get this edge. So this edge has a little bit of a fade of the original color on it, and well, it's going to be painted again. But it's going to go on here like this, and so I might as well just wait until it's attached before I paint it. So I'm starting to see why these guys don't even bother painting any of it until it's all assembled, and then they just mask what they need to mask off. Because it makes for a lot less unnecessary painting. And touching up. Whereas I have to keep going over these little spots as I go. And, well, quite frankly, it's been a pain in the ass. Or at least I'm noticing spots that need to be done again. That I just waited, because I'm basically painting the whole plane anyway. I didn't have to do this all in the gray first. I could have just waited, and once it's all assembled, and then mask off things like the engine and the cockpit, and just do the whole thing in one shebang, because I have to do it anyway. I have to go over the whole thing so it's all one color, and not these ones where this got a really good 2 coats on it, and this only got 1, and this was actually 3 coats, and whatever, right? This one got a little bit of overspray, and this didn't quite get hit good enough. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. So those are on there. My white pieces are now nicely hidden. But if I ever happen to smash this thing, I'll be like, oh, look at that, look at the detail I did on there, right? Now, we've got question marks for the engine pieces. It looks like we have options as to whether the engine, I guess like the afterburners are engaged or not. We've got these little pieces. 122. Just a second here. I'm not sure what I'm going to have to do with those. It's I'm getting a request for a picture. Okay, so I'm not quite sure we can do the 124 and 126, 123, 1, 2, 123, 4, 5, and 6 on the B. That's these guys here. So why is it that they're giving me options? What is it that they want me to do? What are the options? I almost feel like I can either put them on there closed or open, I think. Because they're showing me these little fin pieces. Look like arms. So it's these two. That's a top and a bottom. Top and a bottom. So how do these fit? This. Where's that? This one. Maybe I should have paid attention which one is which, because they don't really show. And this, they're showing this at like an angle like that, like it's really spread open. And like this, like it's really, like it's, instead of sitting like this, right, it's really like angled up. So I'm not sure. And they want these painted gunmetal, the same as this. But I want to determine how they're supposed to fit on there. Because they have all these little arms, these guys here, and they're different than these guys down here. So okay, that literally is the difference. They're either going like this, they're really open, or they're closed. So let's assume that, you know, the landing gear is down and the plane is parked. They're not going to be sitting wide open, are they? I don't think so. So what I need then is E121. E, I think, is still in the box. Nope, because those are H's and I's. These are the E's. So it's these little guys here. These guys. So I'm looking for 121. There's two of them on here. But these need to be painted. So before taking them off of here, I'm going to paint them. Just because there's no chance of them getting blown away by the thing, you know. You know the thing that does the things? I want to make sure it doesn't get blown away by the things. ready to be painted. Okay, and that's ready to be painted. But what about these guys that I already took off of the sprue? These guys need to be painted. Now, if they were going to be up, I would have to paint both sides. But they're not. They're going to be down, so they're going to be hidden. Oh, you know what? You might be able to see them from underneath a little bit. So I do have to paint both sides. So I'll paint the undersides first. What I need to do, I'm going to get a little piece of tape, fold it over so it's double-sided, and then I'll put them down on the table so they don't go blowing away when I hit them with the paint, with the spray. Okay, put it over here. That's probably glue dry enough now. Okay. Let's put these guys down here. And okay, I need my light gunmetal. Okay, so I gotta let that dry for a few minutes. Bear with me here. Okay, so while that is drying, let's work on getting the other little fin thingy glued on. I might wind up having to sit something against it. I might not. I don't know. We'll see once I got it glued. This side fit a little bit looser than this side did, so yeah, we'll see. Pretty close. Doing pretty good. Alright, I think we're good. Now this just needs to sit nice and steady like that. So I will put it down in between some paints here. And that should do it. That should be okay. So, hit the other side of these things with some paint. Some other pieces. Flip them over. Okay. This can go back over here. So I don't need that anymore right now. Double check this thing to make sure that it is still straight. Just a hair, that's okay. Fix that. There we go. All right, so still have to wait for that to dry a little bit. But is just going to go back a page and make sure that I've done all the steps. So the tail fin does have to come on, or go on. That's done, those are done. Done. Yes, okay, so that page is done. These fins, this panel bits are done. Done. Our air brakes are on. So now then it's just these engine pieces, which decided which way to go with those. To get rid of some stuff off my book. And see what's next. So after putting those little pieces in on the sides that have to go, I'm going to put those pieces on the top and the bottom. Then we need to assemble some weapon pods, looks like for the underside of the wings. It is unfortunate we've got the one weapon pod that is not going to sit proper, because this somehow came apart. So if you didn't see before, when it's assembling the wings, inside you've got these spots where the weapons actually get attached to the wings themselves. And what's kind of neat is it's these two little circular things, and they're attached with a rod that goes to the hinge. And when the wing sweeps back, these things rotate just a little bit, so that as the wing sweeps, the missile or whatever, as it's sitting like this, when the wing sweeps back, it still remains in that position. Instead of being like this, and then as the wing sweeps, it's like this, and now it's sticking out like a foot, and they try and fire or something, and it goes up like this, right? Or if they have it like this, you know, then, or say like this, here, and then the wing sweeps forward as they start combat, this thing is now facing right at the plane, right? So it's a pretty neat idea that they had, is that it rotates on this hinge. Now, that being said, this wing came out perfect. They rotate just like they should. But somehow, some way, this one became disconnected from the rod, and this one does not turn anymore. And yeah, I've even tried taking a little screwdriver to see if I can turn it, and it won't turn. I think maybe there's something that when this got put together, it put too much pressure on it, and it broke free, and now it's just fixed in one spot and doesn't work anymore. So, that's the whole story behind that thing. So in any case, what they want me to do, and they want me to drill holes in it too. Why? Why don't they just mold it with the holes in it? In any case, let's see how the paint's doing. Pretty good. Nice shiny metallic colors now. Alright, so the pieces I need off of here. Two. Three. And four. So it looks like what they do, I gotta flip back to see how they orient in there. With a little spread out parts first. So they go in like this. I just wonder why they wait till now to actually put this on. It's such a tight fit in there. And now that I've kind of shoved it in there, how do I glue it? Looks like that's going to be permanently loose. Very happy with the fit of this. Kind of a non-necessary piece. That's how they're going to sit. So that, and this one. Let's see if I can grab these. There we go. So that's that. So I got 4 pieces to do like that. So for the outside ones, I'm going to have to put the glue on them and then slide them in. And the inside ones, I can put the glue on the plane. Let's just do this. This might be the easiest way to do it. Maybe. Maybe not. There we go. Okay, there's one of 4. I will say, pain in the ass. It doesn't go where it's supposed to. Split that a little bit. I think I got them on there. The middle ones are going to be much easier to do. Just like that. And just like that. I don't know if you can even see any point showing you that. You can't really see them. Yeah. they're on there. So now we got these guys. And it goes from the larger part to the outside. And they just simply sit like that. So that. There's one. Two. Now, the way those are sitting, I wonder if that's going to interfere with the tail at all. Tails there. No, they just hug the tail perfectly. Nice snug little fit. And that came out pretty good. So I got my two little fins on there. I still don't want to just rest it down on them, so just leave it like that. Now, put the ones for the underside. Which way did they go? I think it's going to go like this. Yeah. There's one. And two. So on the underside, they actually meet together and join in the middle. Just like that. And then there's the top. And then those pieces that I spent all that time trying to fit them in there. You can't even see them. They're totally covered. Okay, this is done, so we can let this sit and dry. And we can put the tail, actually put the tail on now. So let's get some glue onto this guy. Okay. Just like that, we have a tail fin. Now we're starting to look like a plane. Progress is being made. There we go. We're getting there. Okay, so let's set this down here for now. So we have some weapons things. I need M237, 36. I think that's this. That's M. Yeah. So these appear to be double-sided. And that's the only thing on this tiny little screw. Tomorrow, depending on how long it takes me to build those little Star Wars guys, I might still have time to continue on this. I don't know. I kind of think one thing at a time is probably better rather than switching over to two different models on the same day. Okay, so let's see which is which here. So you want me to drill holes in these things too. You can see there and there, two little holes. They want me to drill through and make holes. So I'm going to get my little hand drill ready. This guy here, the drill I have in it might be too big. Yep. Let's see. That seems pretty good. So, doesn't take much. I don't know if you can see that. Now it's got two holes. I don't think you can see it. One. It's just two holes. Almost a little confusing with this one because it's got little indentations in more than just two spots. So it's like, do they want me to drill more than two holes into this side? But it doesn't look like we're doing more than two on each one. So I once built a model of the Titanic, and it wasn't meant to have any holes or anything, so I drilled all these little holes out for all the little windows in the hull and put some LED lighting in it. It came out pretty good. That was years ago. That was probably, I don't know, I think I was like, how old am I now? So I want to say close to 25 years ago. Maybe a little less. 23, something like that. It was a very long time ago. Back in my younger days when I could convince the females to hang out with me a lot more often. Yeah. That's all I'll say about that. Okay, so I got my little holes drilled. I need to determine what size there are. And it looks like we've got to shave this down a little bit. Don't be too zealous, you'll end up cutting yourself. So that's okay. And that's a male. Okay. This is a female. They've got these little circles from the mold that stick up, and it prevents it from really mating flush. So I have to shave it down. You can notice on this one. Well, kids, sometimes it's not always the knife that's going to stab you. Sometimes it's just a pointy part. I just stabbed myself with it. So be careful out there. Okay, that's done. Now that's a male. I need a female that matches it. And that's not you. So that's going to be you. Yeah, that fits together so much nicer with those little knobs shaved off on the inside. Okay, blue. Good. So one is done. So you tell me to put the holes in because there's pieces that mount on each side. Which again, why they didn't just mold it with the holes. I don't know. Maybe they figure you want to feel like you're customizing it, I don't know. Or immerse you in the building of it a little more. But I mean, let's face it, let's say I was, I don't know, a 12-year-old kid and I'm building this model. I think I'm going to have all these different paints and tools and things. No. Maybe the kid's pretty good at it. But he's 12 years old. He can't afford all this stuff. So why do they make him go through that? I need to make these tiny, super tiny holes, but I don't have a drill. So what's the alternative? To use this and just do that until you get through. And it's really not a precise way to do it at all. Trust me, I was 12 years old and I had to do it. I used to break the tips off of my X-Acto knives so much from doing shit like that. Okay, next I need D132. That's on here. Gee, do you think I'm going to have to paint them? 132. I also need D129, but for now, I'm going to put 132 here, and I'll put 129 over here. This one too. What the hell? There's a tiny little ball on the end of it. I've never seen that before. Weird. So I almost snipped it off. But then I saw it's on that one too. And they kinda show it in here. So I guess it's supposed to be there. Which is fine. If it's supposed to be, it's supposed to be. I don't mind that. Okay, so this is 132. And with this thing oriented like this, this is the side it goes on. Pegs go in the hole. Like that. And that's how it sits. Okay. We got our glue. Like that. Let that dry. 129 would just be on the other side. Honestly, they look identical. I don't think it makes a difference which side they go on. So both have funny little knobs. I mean, 129, if this is like this, 129 goes on this side. Just like that. So. Okay. Done. Okay. Now with that, like that, I think I'm going to call it a night. I'm going to continue. I'll put the other sides on. And then I need to hit it with the gray paint so that that's all nicely one color. And then we'll continue on next time. So we made some progress. It's looking like a plane now. So I'm happy about that. Yeah, so with that, let's say good night, and we'll call that part 5 done, and we'll continue on next time. Like I said, tomorrow I'm probably not going to be working on this. I'm going to be working on the Star Wars guys. Do that tomorrow. Yeah, so thanks for watching. If you're watching watching this on YouTube, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, all that good stuff. You can check out my pictures on my Instagram if you want to see some past builds and pictures of them, stuff like that. So yeah. So until next time, thanks again for watching, and yeah, we'll see you all next time.